Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. This week began as any other, at least in my life. Up before I needed to be because I had to share my room and bath with my younger brother Sandy. He's just 11 and I'm 13. I always wanted a couple more siblings, even girls if necessary, but Mom said no. Actually, I think it was because she had such a hard time with Sandy, although all I know is what I was told. We live in a small town near Salem, Massachusetts. It's an awfully quiet place, not much to do, and our high school barely has a football team, not even 500 students in the whole county. Still, my dad, Donald Parsons, seems to make a decent living. We don't really need anything we can't afford except maybe a piano. I really would like to take piano lessons. Yes, I know that is a little odd for a boy, but they tell me I'm special, whatever that means. Sometimes I think it has to do with my name, Daniel, which makes me think of the lion's den, which is where I feel I am when confronted with the normal-sized kids in middle school. Maybe that's why I spend time with Kathy and Julie, a couple of my neighbors. They are nice to me and we're about the same size, about 5 feet 3 inches, and girls don't usually pick fights. Maybe that's why I wouldn't have minded a sister or two. Mind you, Kathy and Julie were considered a bit unusual. They both had candles and incense in their rooms just because they liked them, I guess, and there was this neat star-like design in their living room rug. It must have rubbed off in the 5 years I've known them because I have a few candles now myself. They are calming somehow. I like to just lie in bed and watch them flicker. It's sort of hypnotic. Kathy actually did try to hypnotize me once a couple months ago. I'm sure she didn't succeed or I'd have known it. You can't hypnotize someone that easily. Well, that's what I've been told anyhow. Anyway, we all had a good laugh over it. After school today, we went over to Julie's to play Scrabble. She usually wins, but we play anyway. I'm going to beat her someday. It was funny, when I got home today, Mom was looking through an old photo album and when I came in, she looked as though she had been crying. Mom, is something wrong? I asked. Oh, not really, honey. I was just looking at your baby pictures thinking of how sweet you looked in your christening dress. Sandy and I wore dresses. Yes, it's the custom in our church. Actually, you both wore them all the time until you were about a year old. Nobody thought anything of it back then. We let your hair grow and you looked very sweet, don't you think? Yeah, I guess so. If it makes you sad, why do you look at them, Mom? Sometimes I just wish I could have given you a couple sisters is all. Don't concern yourself, honey. All right, Mom. We're playing at Julie's today. They're kind of like sisters. CYA. Don't be late for dinner. We played in Julie's family room. Mrs. Price was busy getting dinner ready. We were talking and I told them about Mom today. Your mom was crying about not having any girls? Yeah, I guess so. I think it would have been nice. Girls are a lot nicer to be around than boys anyway. I don't like being bullied, would you? No, Danny, and I don't know why you put up with it. Like I have a choice. Kathy looked at Julie and that look I had come to dread flew between them. Beetlejuice. What I responded. I didn't actually hear anything. It was more a feeling. Come on up to my room, Danny, Julie said. Okay, let's go. Sometimes we did play in her room. Danny, remember the wedding I was in a couple months ago? Yes, you looked very pretty and very grown up with your hair in ringlets and with your high-heeled sandals. Why? We want to see how you'd look in my outfit. Okay. Gee, Julie. Me? The makeup and heels and everything? Yes, Danny. You will do it, right? Sure, Julie. If that's what you want. All right, Danny, for the next little while, you're our sister. Go shave the fuzz off your legs and your armpits. Just put my robe on from the back of the bathroom door. All right. I'll be back in a few. Now, somewhere in the back of my mind, I felt a bit strange about what I was about to do, and yet I felt like I really wanted to do it because Julie had told me to. So, I did it, and when I ran my hand over my now smooth legs, I liked it. Putting on her nylon robe, I returned to find the bed laid out with that lovely dress, the strapless bra, hose, half slip and those sexy platform 4-inch heeled sandals. I admit I was getting a bit exited. Okay Danny, I think we are going to change your name to Dana for now. Is that okay? Sure, I like it. I can be Dana Scully. My hair's just right for it. Yes, it is Dana and almost long enough too. You're going to love this. Here, put on your control panties and then I'll help you with your bra. These feel nice and snug. You will ignore the little bit of squishing Dana. We need to paint those toes now and put some dryer on them so they'll look nice in the sandals. They then took time to give me a pedicure complete with a lovely berry shade polish. Now the bra. Do you like your new breasts? They look almost as nice as yours, Julie. Thank you. Too bad they're fake. Yes, it is too bad, isn't it Dana? Alright sweetie, next the hose. You know how to do it. I shimmied the sheer stretch pantyhose up my smooth legs. Oh, these feel divine, I said. They do, don't they? Too bad you're not a real girl, Dana. Yes, it is, isn't it? Mom would like to have a daughter, I'll bet. Alright, over to my vanity and let's set your hair in the hot rollers, then we'll get your makeup done. Julie and Kathy worked quickly and soon I had a head full of curlers. It felt strange but somehow nice, like we were having a pajama party or something. Alright Dana, now the makeup. They plucked my brows into beautiful arches and pierced my other ear, but I didn't feel it for some reason. Julie put the prettiest pair of dangles on me. Then they did a full makeup on me and got me into Julie's bridesmaid dress. Then they undid the rollers and brushed out my now wavy and slightly bouffant hair. The dress felt wonderful swishing around my nylon-clad legs. Alright Dana, now your pretty shoes. They should fit fine. Oh, they do. Let me slip the other on and fasten the straps. There, now stand up Sister Dana. Turn around and look in the mirror. Isn't it wonderful to be a girl, Dana? Oh, Julie. I feel so pretty. Thank you so much. This is too much. I love these sandals. They do make me feel grown up. But like a grown-up girl, Dana, not a boy, right? Well, of course, silly. Who'd want to be a boy when she could look like this? You will remember that feeling, Dana, even when you have put your other clothes on. Beetlejuice : Julie. Just look at me. Oh, I feel so pretty. But why am I dressed like this? We suggested you try on my dress. Don't you remember? Oh, yes, I suppose so, but heavens, I never thought I would like something like this. I'm embarrassed, blushing, and listen to me talking just like you two. Dana honey, you are among friends. We've been girlfriends for years. No need to be bashful. We know your true heart. You mean you think I'd really like to be a girl? Well, wouldn't it uncomplicate your life, honey? No more bullies. They'd be wanting dates instead. Sweet revenge, don't you think? That does sound delicious, doesn't it? Twirling around, I'll bet I'm as tall as my daddy in these heels. You have very pretty legs, Dana. Do you like the shoes? They're very sexy, Julie, especially for a 13-year-old. Does your mom let you wear them much? Sure, I have a pair of patent pumps too. Want to try them? Could I? Of course, little sister. So, I tried on her 3-inch pumps. They were a little easier to walk in and made my feet look so dainty. I just loved them, but I couldn't understand why. Julie, it's almost time for dinner, honey. Kathy and Danny need to run along now. Okay, Mom. It'll take about 10 minutes. I felt saddened to part with all those pretty things, and Kathy worked at getting the makeup off. We didn't have time to take off the polish, but I liked it anyway. As Kathy and I left, Julie said, "See you girls tomorrow." Bye, Julie. It never dawned on me I had been included in girls. It never dawned until I got home, that is. My mother took one look at me and knew something was up. She got a tissue and approached me and raised it to my mouth and wiped. There, we don't want lipstick smudges on your drinking glass now, do we? Honey, you have studs in both ears and those eyebrows. What have those girls been up to? Oh, nothing, Mom. Julie and Kathy just wanted to share Julie's wedding thing with me. I see. And just how did they do that? They put me in Julie's outfit. It really is beautiful. The dress, heels and everything. Yes. Was that wrong? I don't know, dear. I think I'd better talk to Mrs. Price about this though. Please don't get my friends in trouble, Mom. I liked it. Yes, I can see that. Oh, very well, but I hope they don't turn you into a sissy. I'm already a sissy, Mom, and so is Sandy. Don't you know that? We're both little swishes. Oh, my dear, sweet child. I'm so sorry. It's okay, Mom. I have friends. I'm all right. I wonder if your father will notice anything. He's a man, Mom. He won't. Girlish giggle. So, I was wrong. Sue me. He noticed the other earring right away and the hair and eyebrows too. I mean, I'd never worn it in a page boy with bangs before. This a new look, Danny? Like it, Dad? Well, I would on a girl. Leave him alone, Donald. He's just going through a phase. I hope so, Irene. You look awfully girlish, Danny. I'm sorry, Dad. It's okay, son. Just don't overdo it, all right? I'll try not to, Daddy. Daddy. When did I start calling him Daddy again? That was pretty much the end of it until Mom saw my toes after my bath that night, not to mention my now totally hairless body and underarms. Don't you want to take that off? Can't I keep it, Mom? It's pretty. Oh, dear. All right, but don't let your father see your toes if possible. When Kathy and Julie came by for me the next morning, all we could talk about was yesterday afternoon, and I told them all about Mom and Daddy's reactions. They seemed very interested. Beetlejuice. Dana, after school, we're going to continue your feminine education, so we're all going to the mall and get you some very pretty things of your own, all right? Sure, Kathy. I love to shop. Beetlejuice. After school we headed for the mall. I didn't remember our planning the trip, but we went together pretty often, and while I started out bored stiff last year, now I was very attentive, vocal and into it. We shopped for lingerie and Julie bought a pretty shirtwaist dress with a full skirt that came just above her knees. She also bought a pair of pretty matching flats, and then we went back to Julie's house. Beetlejuice. For some reason, this time it registered. Isn't that a title to a Michael Keaton movie? Yes, and when you hear it, you will do as we tell you, won't you, Dana? Of course, Julie. Why wouldn't I? That's a good girl. Now, get dressed in your new clothes and let's play some ping pong. Kathy and I play first and you play the winner. Okay. I didn't put on full makeup today, just some blush and lipstick. Hi, Mrs. Price. Hi, Danny. He's decided he likes to be called Dana better, Mom. Yes. Please call me Dana. Well, I must admit you make a very convincing young lady, Dana, but does your mother know about this? Yes, And your father? Sort of. He just hasn't seen me all dressed up yet. What have you girls done now? Mrs. Price, you can see how happy she is. Please let her be herself. It will all work out, we promise, said Kathy. Oh, with you two running the show, I'm sure of it. I'm just worried about what you'll tweak next. Trust us, Mom. It'll be fine soon. All right, girls, but whatever you do, be thorough and don't mess it up. Make sure everything is covered, please. Last time was a disaster. We've gotten better, Mom. Trust us. I suppose you do have to practice. Just do it right this time. Kathy said, Dana, would you excuse us for a few minutes? We need to go to Julie's room. Sure. I can sit here and read Cosmo. Go. Do whatever. Kathy and Julie disappeared. I just sat there in my pretty dress and flats and read. I'm not quite sure, but I think they may have actually disappeared, but anyway, they were back in a short while. When I took off my bra today, it seemed like my chest had grown some. It was only an A-cup training bra, but it seemed I almost filled it. I was wearing a pair of Julie's small dangles and light rose lipstick, blusher and a little mascara. Just minimal makeup for a girl my age. My new girl-sized 8 jeans felt the least bit tight even over my new panties. Well, I went home to dinner and Mom seemed pleased to see me. She hugged me and told me I looked sweet. Daddy got home and also told me how nice I looked. Funny, I thought he was against my girlishness. I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him on the cheek, leaving a little imprint. When Sandy saw me, he was jealous. "How come you get to wear makeup, Dana?" "Because I'm 13 and you're not." "You know my name?" "Of course I know your name, silly. And you're getting your figure too." "Darn, I wish I'd grow faster." "Oh, you will, Sandy. I have a feeling about that." The next week proceeded as today. Nobody called me Danny anymore. I didn't wear my dangles or makeup to school, but some of the other girls were beginning to call me Dana too. It was so weird. And I seemed to be walking and talking differently, more like my girlfriends. I had a wiggle in my walk and I was more demonstrative the way I talked. I continued to experiment with makeup at home, and by the end of the week, I had to wear my new bra under my blouses. I mean, I just had to. I was just too pert and there was no more room in that bra. I was beginning to feel sorry for Sandy and Daddy. Maybe Sandy would turn out to be a pretty girl, but poor Daddy didn't have a chance. The following week, more kids, and even some faculty were calling me Dana, and while I was still small, I was really getting my figure just like Kathy and Julie. Mom had to take me out for a few new things for school and play like jeans and blouses and some lingerie. Dana, I never knew how much I missed having a daughter until now. I don't understand this, but if you are happy. She bought me some pretty A-cup bras and one B-cup and matching panties. I'm very happy, Mom. It's Sandy and Daddy I feel sorry for. Mom let that one slide. Sandy apparently was also getting a little pert in the chest, something Mom hadn't noticed yet, but Sandy was thrilled about it. Now, I knew I had a brother named Sandy and boys weren't supposed to develop breasts, but I guess if that's what he wants, who am I of all people to deny him, or would it be her? I was so naive that I thought maybe Sandy and I could just be whatever we decided when we hit puberty, even though I did understand I'd been happily influenced by my girlfriends. Influence was O&E thing, but we were changing and rapidly. I told Kathy and Julie about Sandy. They just smiled and said, "That's nice. Now you'll have company." By this time, of course, I was borrowing things from Kathy and Julie and playing dress up and practicing in their high heels and getting really good with my makeup and hair. A lot of the girls at school had complimented on my hair lately. Setting it every morning was a pain though. I told them, yes, I suppose Sandy will turn out to be a little sister now, but I feel sorry for Daddy. It's so neat being allowed to be a girl. It's too bad everyone can't try it out at least. That night at dinner, Daddy was very complimentary on our appearance. "You girls look nice tonight," he remarked. I just had on average makeup for a 13-year-old, but I did have on my new dress that Mom bought me and my new flats and a bracelet. He called us girls and he didn't bat an eye about my dress or shoes or my makeup. Mom finally noticed Sandy's bumps and got him a training bra. He was very proud and Mom did let him get his ears pierced and some little studs put in. He did look kind of sweet for a kid sister. Gee, I guess I'd better start calling him she if this keeps up. Then something really funny crossed my mind, an old Johnny Cash song called "A Boy Named Sue." Susan. No sooner had the thought entered my head than I heard my mom say, "Susan, please pass the potatoes." "Sure, Mom." Well, for heaven's sake. And Daddy didn't even raise an eyebrow. Speaking of eyebrows, his looked rather nice. Not all bushy like they used to. His hair seemed a lot fuller and nice and shiny too. My Daddy was a good-looking man. At 5 feet 7 inches, I guess he could have been a rather attractive woman. Poor Daddy. It was perhaps a week later and Susan and I were settling into being ever more girlish and loving it. She wasn't so jealous of me now but couldn't wait to catch up. Her hair was getting longer by the day and she was beginning to get her figure, but Mom wouldn't hear of her wearing lipstick yet. I'd never heard of a girl maturing as quickly as Susan and I. It was very interesting. It looked like Daddy was losing weight. I think he had only weighed about 145, but now he looked more like Mom's weight of about 130. Gee, I'll bet they could even share clothes now. It wasn't 2 days after that before all 4 of us came down to breakfast in our nighties and robes. Daddy's robe was open and I could see his large brown pointers. Oh, my. Oh, lucky Daddy. His growing breasts too. I'll bet he has a cute figure. Of course, I told the girls. Again, they smiled and said how lucky I was to have a daddy who appreciated his feminine side. I think he could be almost as pretty as Mom, Kathy. I wish he'd try. Beetlejuice. Dana, would you like your daddy to be pretty, sweet and feminine? Well, gee Julie. Who wouldn't want that for someone they love? Susan and I are getting the chance to be girls, why not Daddy? I was so naive. I never thought about Mom needing him to be a boy. Alright Dana, next week you and Susan will begin to change into females for real. You will become round and pretty and you will change between your legs and nobody will remember you two as boys forevermore. And your daddy's new name will be Rebecca or Becky and he will begin to change just like you have, fairly quickly. He will have the opportunity to experience womanhood and keep it if he and your mother wish it. Will that be all right, little sister? Oh, yes, Julie. I'd love for Daddy to feel this wonderful. So be it, Dana, they chimed in unison. Beetlejuice. What just happened, Julie? We just granted you a little request, honey. Nothing major, giggled Kathy. Oh, thanks, whatever it was. I had a dream that night and I remembered what I had wished for my daddy and wondered if it were possible. Would he enjoy being soft and pretty and feminine? Oh, surely he would. Who wouldn't? It was Wednesday. By Sunday, Susan and I were both wearing our prettiest dresses to church and I wore my mid-heeled pumps. I felt wonderful and happy for Sue. She was going to be a little doll. Daddy didn't shave that day. At least, I didn't hear his razor running and yet, his face looked very nice and smooth. His breasts were very obvious in his new gown with the fitted bodice too. He was bouncy just like Mom. With his long, wavy hair, smooth face and nicely plucked eyebrows, he looked very nice. Monday Susan and I wore dresses for the first time to school and I did my best to make the most of my femininity. I noticed my panties fit better this morning. That troublesome stump was shrinking, thank heaven, and I noticed my thighs had filled in some and my knees too. I thought I looked rather cute. Apparently Blaine Carlisle did too. He made a serious pass at me but I just told him Mom wasn't letting me date yet. Poor boy. He looked crestfallen. Now I was getting an appreciation for the power girls had. This was neat. That night, Mom and Daddy got ready for bed and came back to watch the 10 o'clock news. None of us had our robes on and Daddy's figure was blossoming. And he was wearing the cutest mules too. Pretty slippers, Daddy, I said. Thanks, honey. I think they need something though. Oh, I do too. Let me paint your toenails. Okay, sweetheart. That sounds nice. Well, I took the task to heart and soon Daddy had pretty toes like the rest of us. Nothing much else happened with Daddy for the balance of the week, except I noticed he was wearing opaque knee-highs to work and I could see his panty line under his man-tailored slacks. The blazer looked a bit nipped in at the waist too. Well, I suppose he can't help it now, can he? He's obviously getting a cute figure just like Mom. Friday he came home with a beautiful manicure from the salon. His nails looked lovely, clear but lovely, and for heaven's sake, he'd had his ears pierced and with the tiniest little studs I'd even seen. You had to look hard to notice. His hair was blunt cut in the back. It was what I'd call a long pixie style, I guess, and it was fluffed up on top. It looked good on him. His brows had some more work done too. Saturday morning I noticed something else had been added. Daddy was wearing a sleep bra under his nightie and his hips were stretching the gown some too. He was getting a very cute figure. I think Rebecca is going to be a stone fox, I thought. Wow, Dana. Your daddy is going to get to try being a girl after all, and her name is Rebecca. When they got dressed, Rebecca put on a regular bra and I mean, golly, nice milk supply if she'd been a mom. Had to be a very full B cup at least, maybe a C. And she put on a blouse and slacks and a pair of basic thin keds. She also had a little pale lipstick on. Daddy, I have to tell you I think you are looking very foxy lately. Thank you, sweetheart. I've been feeling a little strange, but whatever it is, I think I like it. Apparently, so does your mother. Yes, I think I heard you last night. Is your voice changing, Daddy? Maybe it is, honey. Do I sound different? Yes. I like it. Me too. I couldn't help sharing my good news with Kathy and Julie, of course, the following Monday. Mom was letting Daddy try being a girl too. Gee, where did I get the idea she had to have permission? Anyway, I told them all about the changes and they seemed pleased. During that week, I could tell that Becky was practicing her makeup and hair. I think it was Thursday evening that she came home and actually got semi-dolled up, put in some cute dangle earrings, did her makeup with base, eyeliner, shadow, and everything, and actually wore a dress and low pumps to dinner. When Becky came into the kitchen, Mom greeted her with a kiss and, "Becky, you look adorable. I think that dress does things for your figure and the pumps are cute. Just buy those." Aha! Bought a pair of taupe spikes too. They're really cute. Well, why didn't you wear them? Taupe goes with everything. Want me to? Sure. Okay. I'll put them on. Oh, Daddy, you look darling. How could you possibly want to be a boy as cute as you are? Honey, I don't know anymore and I don't understand any of this. I feel just divine like this. You do look pretty, Becky, added Mom. I think we could take you anywhere. Would you like to try going out to dinner tomorrow night a little dressy? Oh, Irene, I'm a little nervous about how I look. Your daughter said it best. You look adorable. No one will ever suspect you're still a little bit boy. Trust me. Honestly? Yes, we three chimed at once. Well, you girls are going to have to get over calling me Daddy then. You all need to call me Rebecca or Becky or Aunt Becky, okay? Sure, DA. Aunt Becky. The die was cast. Mom and Aunt Becky looked very smart in their almost matching dresses, even down to the pearl necklaces and drop earrings. I was a little surprised. Aunt Becky, you're showing. Don't you like my figure, sweetie? Well, sure, but... Now girls, your Aunt Becky is a big girl. She's allowed to advertise a little. It's half the fun of being female after all. Okay, Mom. We're just not used to seeing her this way, I guess. They both had their spikes on and I was surprised too at how well my former daddy moved and managed her heels. Of course I had my 3-inch heels on too and was feeling very grown up. She was very feminine now. I mean, she just oozed feminine all over the place, as did I. How was she getting away with this at work, I wondered. Well, she was still wearing sort of masculine clothes to work, but not by much. Man-tailored perhaps, but to my eye, definitely feminine. And how was she hiding that great figure? To me, everything about Aunt Becky, just like Mom, screamed pretty woman. Her voice had definitely changed too. She had moved from tenor to decidedly alto, maybe even soprano. Meanwhile, at Julie's house. Okay, you two. I want a full report on what you've been doing with Dana and her family. You two little witches have been too quiet lately. Out with it. All the details. Or, Mom, just do it voluntarily, please. Okay. Dana and her former brother, now Susan, are both complete females now in every way and thrilled about it on every level. They can bear children. Dana's mom suggested that her dad try sleeping in a nightie, and the next morning, his figure was obvious and was accepted as fact by his wife and daughters. Dana's mom has begun to think of herself as a happily married lesbian, and her dad has begun thinking of himself in similar terms and is quite pleased with what is happening to him, although he doesn't understand why. Rebecca and her wife are now the same dress and bra and shoe size, so they can share, and Rebecca has shrunk 2 inches in height to 5 feet 5 inches. They went out last night to a fancy restaurant all dolled up, and Becky never had a better time and is thinking, although she doesn't know it yet, of wishing she were completely female. If left unchecked, that will be a fact in 2 weeks, and all the mechanics are in place for alteration of brainwaves to accept her as such in all relationships, and the records are being altered now. I think we've done a really adult job of it this time, Mom. Well, finally. That girl that wanted to be a football player ended up a real geek. I was very unhappy with you over her. However, this looks good. Once Rebecca is fully functional, I believe we can welcome you both into full membership in the coven, but you must promise to be just as thorough in every spell. Is that clear? Yes, It's been almost a year now since Daddy decided he really loved being a girl and became one for real. Aunt Rebecca and Mom still sleep in the same room although they have separate beds. I'm not quite decided on how naive I want to be about that. Grin. Mom seems really pleased to have daughters now. I think she spoils us something awful, but I don't care. Mom and Becky have let me start dating in groups. I love to dance and I love to dress up and I just love boys. I measure 32b divided by 20 divided by 33 now and I'm 5 feet 4 inches tall. I hope I stay there. They tell me I look great in my bikini. Susan is a little doll and a lot more fun as a sister than she ever was as a brother. Rebecca is doing even better at her job than Daddy did. I think it has something to do with appeal. She's learned to make the most of her assets, I can tell you. She dresses very smart and sexy. And my two best friends? Well, they finally confessed. This is hard to explain, but they sort of played back the entire sequence of thoughts and events for me. It was very surreal and very illuminating. Apparently, it all began with me being such a sissy and then, with their mind-reading abilities, I was a dead duck along with everyone else in the family. Even my grandparents don't remember having a son named Donald nor grandsons. Julie. Yes, Dana. Could I maybe come to a meeting sometime? How sweet. MOM. I think we have a disciple.